This is Jamey from Stillmeyer Games, and today I'm going to be talking about my favorite mechanism in a Kickstarter game that I recently received, Dice Miner. I've now played Dice Miner, I think, 3 times since I received it. Once 2-player, once 3-player, and once 5-player, and I really, really enjoyed every play. This will easily be one of my top 10 games of 2021. It is a custom dice game about mining 3 different mountains, all of which look like this because there's only one mountain in the game. And over 3 rounds, you are mining dice from this mountain itself. So there, at the beginning of each round, you're going to randomly toss some dice like this. They will fill up this entire mountain space. And then you will draft from dice that are fully exposed. There's no dice on top of them. So I'll take a die on my turn, and then it'll be the next player's turn. I love this drafting mechanism. I love the use of this component as a drafting tool, drafting component. Just really, really cool method of drafting dice. Beyond this component, though, there's a mechanism that I didn't expect in this game. I knew I was going to be drafting dice. I love custom dice, so I was really excited about that. I was excited about getting these custom dice and building my own pool of dice. But what I didn't know, this is the really, really cool thing about this game, and kind of the key to any dice game is let players roll the dice a few times in the game. Basically, at the end of each round, each of the 3 rounds, each of the first 2 rounds, at the end of the 3rd round, it doesn't matter. But at the end of the 1st round and the 2nd round, you score all the dice that you have, and then you roll all the dice that you have, and you start out with those results at the beginning of the next round. And so not only have I drafted these dice, and I've gotten the abilities that I can see, full agency. I know when I'm getting all these dice, and there is a way to re-roll them at the end of the round if you want something better on a dice that you draft. But not only that, but I'm also getting the fun of rolling a bunch of dice and maybe even getting something better or something to build off of for the next round. So there's this really nice sense of, well, there's a little bit of luck to it, but it's a fun moment of luck. You've already gained the thing. You haven't spent anything to gain these dice. You already have them. So it's a moment of luck, and it's a moment of engine building because suddenly you don't have to start over from the beginning. You are building off of dice that you've already acquired throughout the game. I really, really love that about this game, Dice Miner. The last element that's worth mentioning, because it's such a clever mechanism, is that you're playing dwarves, fantasy dwarves in this game, and you are on every custom die. There's a bunch of different faces, but every custom die has one cheers icon. Maybe one of the dice has more than one, but I believe each one has a cheers icon. I mentioned earlier that on your turn, you are taking a die from this mountain, but that's not entirely true because the other thing that you can do on your turn, if you have a die with a mug on it, a cheers icon on it, is that you can give that die to another player, any other player, they immediately roll it. So they get something probably other than a cheers icon. And instead of you just taking 1 die from the mountain, you then get to take 2 dice, including dice from the sides. So dice that are partially covered up, not entirely, but partially covered up. So you can take dice that are completely exposed or only partially exposed. So at the right moment in the game, you can take 2 dice on your turn instead of just 1 by cheersing another player and probably giving them something they want. Maybe not necessarily, but probably. And this is such a nice little twist in the game too, that you're not always just taking 1 die. There are moments in the game based on a small sacrifice of giving someone a cheers die that you can gain 2 dice at the same time and breaking that rule of only taking fully exposed dice. It's really such a brilliant, fun, custom dice drafting, dice rolling game. I love it. I really, really love this game. I would highly recommend checking it out if you love the things that I've described here. If you've played it, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Or if you can think of any other games that have some of these mechanisms, I'd love to hear your thoughts on those games as well. It reminded me a little bit of Sushi Roll, which is a game that I really loved from a few years ago. Thanks.